Listen to this track, bitch. Listen to this track, bitch.
Yeah, boy. And we back again, man.
We back.
With my beautiful host, man. Dime Piece, what's happening?
What's happening?
Beauty and the Beats. I go by the name of Drumma Boy. We got a special guest in this thing today, man. This my dog, man. You know what I'm saying? He got the Hawks. He got the Hawks jersey on, man. Shout out to them Atlanta Hawks, man. Johnta Austin, man.
What's up, man? What's up, y'all? Thanks for having me.
Welcome, legendary in
really,
the building.
Pleasure.
Happy to be here. Excited
Pleasure
to be
to
here.
have you, man.
We
What's
are
good,
happy
dog?
to have you here.
Man, everything's great, man. The Hawks are up. We winning.
Yeah.
We looking good.
But we see who you going for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Looking good,
Yeah.
feeling good.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Absolutely, man. Who your favorite player? Who you really root for? Obviously, Trey Young.
Yeah, I mean it's it's Trey, but I like JC. I like John Collins.
Yeah.
Capella. But as a hometown dude, Lou Will, man.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to Lou.
You gotta rep Sweet Lou, man, for sure.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
he got some Memphis history too, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my husband cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, he's
Shout
a
out
good
to Lou.
dude.
Shout out to the Hawks, man, too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Shout out to the Hawks.
Yes, sir.
we need to be at the game.
Yeah. Sunday next home game.
We need to be there. Beauty and the Beats, coincide.
Absolutely. So what you got going, man? What's new? What's the freshest news, man, on Johnta?
Man, currently I just finished up this EP with my brother Troy Taylor.
Okay.
So that should be coming late summer, early
Troy.
fall.
Heat. I know it's some heat.
Yeah, we're excited about that. So five new songs.
Yeah.
And finishing up the Usher project, The Confessions 3.
Okay.
Oh.
We just did that. And
Did we just get some exclusives? Drop
Confessions
the bomb.
3, yeah.
Yeah. So we
Wow.
yeah, we doing that. And right now I'm in school right now at University of North Carolina. So
Business school.
yeah, that's been taking up a lot of my
That's
time.
crazy,
Yeah.
man. Congratulations on
Thanks,
that,
man.
man. I
Yes,
have to
what a
get some
venture.
tips and get some game from you on that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm learning.
That was my major in college, business administration. I just didn't finish.
Oh man, you gotta go back.
I
then.
gotta
Yeah.
go back. You inspired me to go back.
That's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah. I want to be on top of it.
Oh yeah. So speaking of Beauty and the Beast, man, we talking about the new show. You hosted a show when you was what, 8, 7, 8?
Yeah, when I was,
Wow.
I
Kids
started
Beat?
actually. I was like 12 when I started Kids Beat, and then that went over into to Real News for Kids, and then Feed Your Mind on the Turner Broadcasting network.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how, as a kid growing up, like, tell me how you got into music. Becoming who you are as a superstar. Because I saw you pictures with Michael Jackson. And
Yeah.
everybody like, man, how did that?
Jesus.
Man, so I started out in commercials, man. We were on a plane somewhere, and my mom saw, this guy saw me and was just like, hey, I do commercials. Like, he was a talent scout.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was like, has he ever thought about doing it? And, my mom gave me the option, and I said, cool, I'll try it out or whatever. Went on a couple of auditions, and, they worked out. And then I went on an audition for the Turner Broadcasting show, the Kids Beat. And I was with them until I was like 17.
7 to 17. That's crazy.
And so, but I always just had a passion for music. Growing up, singing in church, singing in my grandfather's church, and that was like something that I always wanted to do, be a singer. So I had an opportunity. I was interviewing a lot of people, like you say, Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan, Deion Sanders, people like that. And
The
it caught the
superstars.
attention.
The great.
Absolutely. And at the time it caught the attention of Arsenio Hall, who had like the
Another great.
the hottest show in late night at the time, and
Arsenio.
yeah, we invited him to be, I wanted to interview him, and he was like, cool, I'll be on your show if you come and be on mine. And so I got a chance to be on his show. Yeah.
Leverage.
Absolutely. And he asked me if I wanted to do anything else, and so I sang on the show. And then that's kind of, someone from a record label, Teese Williams, saw me. And that's kind of how that got to rolling.
Game. And you was just
Wow.
doing this off the just
Yeah, just
the
just
spirit,
doing
the
it.
energy, the soul.
And fun fact that the night I was on Arsenio Hall, there was a young comedian by the name of Dave Chappelle who was
That's
who was
crazy.
so that was 93. '93 when I was on Arsenio.
So you've been around the stars.
I've been around for a minute, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Since a kid.
so that's how we got the ball rolling in music. Just from that record deal to losing that record deal to songwriting and everything.
That's crazy. I heard you had a slot before, almost right before you almost beat out Tyrese or something.
No, I had the slot. I was signed to RCA, and then the staff that signed me, Kenny Ortiz and Skip Miller, they got let go. And then there was new people brought in. I mean, now I know how, when new administrations come in, they had their own ideas and their own, people and whatnot that they wanted to put in. And so Anthony Morgan, wanted to sign Tyrese. And so I was dropped, and then, Tyrese, got signed by RCA.
And then
always
you
say
end up giving Tyrese his biggest hit.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Exactly. I mean, I always say like, Tyrese took my spot, but it was really, it was his spot. We had never met each other, so it was never anything personal.
So how did he end up getting your work or getting the song?
So Troy Taylor produced the record, Sweet Lady. Troy Taylor and his partner Charles Farrar at the time, the characters, and RCA came to them to do a record, and they had heard the hook to Sweet Lady was already done. We didn't have the verses yet, and it was like, can you finish that? And so Troy called me and was like, hey,
I gotta finish this.
I got an opportunity for you. He was like, now if you smart, you'll do this, because
he knew you was in as an artist,
and I was
you
young.
probably
was
felt
vested.
some type of way.
Yeah, exactly. I was young. I was, at the time, I'm like, man, I don't want to help this guy because you have that immaturity. Like looking back on it, it was like silly because again, he had never met me, so he there was no. He was just a kid trying to reach his dream the same way that I was. So there was not a reason for me to have any animosity towards him. So. I put that ego away and we finished the verses, and Troy went in and cut the vocals, and the rest is history.
Record. Wow. So this is your first placement as a songwriter.
That was like my first top 10. My first placement actually was the Mona Lisa. Can't Be Wasting My Time on the Wayans Brothers sound, the Don't Be a Menace soundtrack. That was my first
that's crazy.
placement and release. It was Mona Lisa with the Lost Boys. That was 95.
Sheesh.
Yeah, 95.
He said, wait, that was my first top 10.
Yeah, it's right at 17.
Okay.
So the Mona Lisa record was what, 15, 14?
I was 15, I was 15 when it came out.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And you were right here in Atlanta?
Right here, yeah.
What studio did you record that at?
So that was recorded. So it was a production team, Mass Avenue, Bob Anton and Andre Evans, and we were doing a bunch of records. And I think actually Bob went up and cut that in New York, but we recorded it. The actual record was done in Bob's house. That was when like home studios were first starting to become a thing. You know what I mean? Because it was back then in the early 90s, it was all about getting into the studio, being behind the big board. And then, we started to realize that, we were still doing analog though. So it was like ADATs and DA88s, so this was still before Pro Tools. Ooh. But yeah, Bob had a setup in his house, and we wrote and recorded that record in his house.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's history.
Yes.
There's history. So what's your favorite? I would like to ask you, like, what's your biggest inspirations? Like who helped you mold your sound? You know what I mean? Like, man,
so just from afar, the people that I listened to coming up, were R. Kelly and Stevie Wonder and Babyface. Mm-hmm. Those were the people that I really paid attention to coming up. And, just from a more hands-on perspective, Troy Taylor, of course, Teddy Bishop.
Yeah, Teddy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? And then, Chris Hicks as well. And my manager at the time, Chris Young. Those were the people who were really helping to, shape just that early on, the writing and helping me get better and better. I would go spend months at a time with Troy. I would spend all my summers in Jersey working with Troy and him crafting.
I was going to ask you, where was he working out of?
Yeah. So he had a spot in New York on 23rd Street. But he also had a spot in his house, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Again, the home studio. Yeah. And when I wasn't with him, here in Atlanta, Teddy Bishop, had me from 15, and we were working on records and everything. So those were the two creative people, and then hooking up with, and of course, again, Mass Avenue as well, like, cause we had done the Mona Lisa record together. Then I hooked up with Noontime, and you had Chris Hicks, who was there, great ear, great nurturer, and great A&R, who helped myself, Brian Michael Cox, Jazzy Faye, all of us in the beginning.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I seen where you worked with Aaliyah before. So how did you guys working together come about in your career? Because I know you work with a lot of people.
Yeah. So we had Chris Hicks put that play together with Barry Hankerson, who was Aaliyah's uncle and manager at the time. And before we got to Aaliyah, we worked on Genuine. We had been
One of my favorites.
Absolutely, yeah, and we had been lobbying to get Genuine down to Atlanta for a while. So he came down. I did a record. Teddy and I did a record called All Night All Day. He heard it.
I love that record.
Oh, thank you.
That's crazy.
I love that song.
And so,
I
we
love
did
Genuine. Just
Yeah, he was, and so he came down.
I shouldn't have been listening to it, but I was.
And so he came down, and then we worked on some other things. And one of the records that we worked on, that Genuine and I co-wrote was the I Miss You record.
Okay.
And so then Chris had really been pushing to get us in with Aaliyah, and we had a couple of records, and so she wanted to cut I Miss You, and we had I Don't Wanna, before we went, and so
you was a part of that one too.
Yeah, so
All hits.
Yeah.
All hits. All
Hits
vibes.
only.
Yeah.
we had that done, and so that was like the trade-off, because she didn't hear it at first. She wasn't sold on I Don't Wanna, when she first heard it, and but Chris was like, man, if you cut I Miss You, you gotta cut this one, like that's the deal. And so she was like, cool. I mean, and she cut it and loved it, and and it was great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Legend.
That's crazy. So, man, how did you plug up with Noontime? You go from Troy Taylor to Teddy Bishop. Where was Teddy Bishop working at the time when you started working with him? Was he at Noontime?
No. This was before. He was still actually in a partnership, Tim and Ted. They did Call Me a Mac for Usher, and they did a couple records for Tony Braxton. So they were a team at the time, and then they went their separate ways, and I was writing primarily with Teddy. And it was actually Jaha Johnson, who had connected, me with Chris and Ryan at Noontime. But we had actually met each other through Mass Avenue years before. But as far as getting hooked up, they had J-Dub. J-Dub had tracks,
right?
And they needed some writers. I needed, production. So I was the first person to go over there and sit with Chris and Jaha at Noontime. And then Teddy came shortly thereafter. So, that's how we got in.
Big family.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Cleaning up.
Yeah.
Cleaning up.
Yes. And how did the relationship with you and Jermaine start? Is that later down?
Yeah, no, that was all tied in still with the Noontime thing. So there was a young engineer at the time when we were working. He would come in, young kid, Brian Michael Cox.
I know
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah, and he was interviewing. I mean, he was engineering for us. And he had started, like doing beats. And so Brian was giving me beats. And so him and I got cool. But, Brian got hooked up with JD through Jagged Edge. And then he became, just a great production partner, for Jermaine. And Brian was the one who kept on telling Jermaine, like, no, you got to get Johnta over here. Johnta got to come over and write. And then, one day out of the blue, Brian called me and was like, yo, JD wants you to come down tonight.
That's crazy.
And work. And I'm like, oh, I finally got the call.
Yes.
Yeah.
So were you was there like one of the calls that you were excited about? Because I know you done touched and worked with so many since 17, before 17, but what was the most exciting call you got to work with an artist or a producer or somebody?
Ooh, I mean, that was a pretty big moment, because being from Atlanta, I grew up watching JD, seeing Chris Cross and just seeing all the work he had done with Mariah.
Right.
And I mean, so JD is a legend. So
Absolutely.
That's how I felt when I met him too.
Right. Yeah. You get a call from someone like that. It's like, man, this is a really big deal. Like, in Atlanta. I mean, and really worldwide for someone like JD to call you, but especially for me. That was a great moment.
So take me back when you got the call. Take me to that moment when you got that call. What happened?
I think I was sitting eating a Red Lobster or something. and then Brian called, and I was like, okay, like, what time? He gave me the time, I think I was probably like an hour early.
Just I'm gonna be there on time, before time,
right.
just in case you need me before the time you see it.
Yes,
Right,
you weren't missing
exactly.
that opportunity.
Nah, so it was
So
good.
is that where what you call the magic sessions come from? Like with certain producers?
Yeah, I mean,
What is a magic session?
I think just, when it's the combination of, the music, the melodies, when sometimes there's just an automatic kind of bond. And I think I've had that with a few producers. But, in those sessions, you're really learning from Jermaine. Like, he taught me and B Cox so much, just, B Cox from a production standpoint. And a lot of people don't realize how great of a songwriter Jermaine Dupri really is. And so you're learning from him, and the melodies and the lyrics and just picking up things along the way. He's a really great teacher as well. So that's, and that helps make, some magic when you're in there.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Is it any secret elements? Like for me, when I'm making hits, sometimes I might need incense or, I might need my paraphernalia or whatever. But, sometimes we need some women in the room to certify that we got some hits. What is it for you?
For me, it's just really the energy of the creatives involved. Like, if everybody's in good spirits and, I don't know if it's jokes or if it's you can just kind of tell when everyone's relaxed and everyone's happy to be there, that you're going to probably get some magic,
right.
Out of it. I mean, even when, when we did I Don't Wanna, Donnie Scance and Kevin Hicks had the beat. Yeah. and but Jazzy comes in. Jazzy Faye comes in and just, being jazzy. Yeah. And, he had this energy and he gave us the first parts of the melody. He, comes in, Jazzy. Jazzy started doing like that. And it's it's hard to not feed off of that, to not feed off
that's
of
some energy.
Absolutely. And so that's, that's an example of when it's that, okay, we're going to have something special here.
That's crazy. Give me one moment that you came up with a hit during uncomforting times, it's maybe it was super hot in the studio or the engineer is messing up, everything is going on for you not to make a hit record. Ooh. And you still persevere.
I'm trying to see what that's that's a great question. I'm trying to think. The
toughest, you had to pull it out, damn, we almost didn't make that record.
Yeah, I would say I think the vocal session with Tyrese on Sweet Lady, because he gave Troy Taylor fits on this song. Now the song was already done, but yeah, I would think because Tyrese didn't want to do the record, he didn't want to sing it the way that Troy wanted him to sing it, the way that it was on the demo. Yeah, so I think that was
the frustration between the two. Was Troy vocal coaching that session?
Yeah, absolutely. And and back then Troy was easily, angered. Right. And so just to see him just restrain himself because, back there, I mean, he knew this, if I go off, then he's going to leave the studio and he's at any reason to not do this record, he'll take or whatever at the time. So it was against us.
I always say that. I say, man, vocal coaching is like coaching for real.
I never had vocal coaching.
Yeah, I mean, it's real big in R&B because you want
you singing.
Yeah, certain backgrounds and vocals and whatnot, stacks, and just seeing how you gotta still be demanding, but not disrespectful.
Hurt the feelings.
You know what I mean? You don't, like you said, you don't want the artist to leave and walk out on you, but you still want it done the way it's going to be done. And a lot of times, if the artist can trust that coach, 9 times out of 10, you walk out of there with a ring.
But it's the honesty for me, because it take me back to when I was doing Love and Hip Hop, and the story about Jermaine, it take me back to not a regretful place, but to a place where I'm like, I wish I would have handled this situation and really worked with, I think it's Rufus over there with Jermaine, because I went on the show, Mimi took me on the show for management, and she was taking me to Jermaine for him to hear my music. And when he heard it, he said, "Whoa, that sounds like stripper fight music." And I said, "Oh, he dissing me." But then he came back and said, "It's kind of like when I started Snap music. nobody really understood snap music. It's like I had to introduce it to the world, but people not gonna really understand this unless you introduce it the right way. But now that I sit back and listen to you and your experiences with him, how you say you're a good songwriter, I wish I would have like listened to him and kind of like got in there and got some advice from him, because it probably could have put me in a place that people understood.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because y'all like geniuses in that area.
Yeah.
Like even drama, like just trying to bring out what I want to say in a record. And I might say, Drumma, I want to do something like this or like this. He'll put the perfect beat on and the perfect hook or say the perfect words to make me think of the right thing. And that's just a retrospect that I had when you said about Jermaine. I'm like, dang, I wish I could have really worked with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it like for me, like I've seen some producers, you know, they might pull up a beat or whatever and be like, nah, I know you ain't gonna be able to kill this shit, so I don't even know why I'm pulling this beat up and then try to go to the next beat. And then before you can pull up the next beat, they like, no,
I
what
like
you mean?
this one, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like reverse psychology. Now I got you motivated to kill this beat without saying, look, man, do this beat or else we gonna da-da-da. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of be creative with
everything.
Your reverse
that
psychology.
That was some of the biggest advice really in my career. If you really think back at it, because everybody doing stripper fight music now.
Absolutely.
That's what's going. So.
Yeah. So who you listening to these days? What's in your Rolodex?
Ooh,
some of the late artists that you rocking with.
As far as R&B, I'm still rocking Daniel Caesar. Like I love his work. I love what he does. Her.
Of course.
Oh, I love her.
Of course.
I love her.
Elegant.
Yeah.
Masterful.
Absolutely.
Very masterful.
You can't beat that.
Her playing the guitar too is just that's what gets it for
different.
me.
Yeah, she's a musician, the voice. You know, Jasmine Sullivan put out a great album this year.
I feel like that was a little underrated because I love that album.
Yeah, she
Jasmine
put out
is
a great
beast.
one. She's dope. I mean, and as far as you know, just overall music when it's not R&B, I mean, it's, you know, you can't go wrong with Drake.
Oh yeah. Drake, that's
I was wondering
obvious.
what you was gonna say about rap. What about
Yeah.
female rap?
Oh no, I love Cardi, like I love Meg, like I love what they're doing. I was actually so happy to see. I was when the Grammys happened and Meg was nominated for Best New Artist. I was really hoping that she would get it. Like, you know, it's good to see artists like that.
For the women,
absolutely. You know, just to see what she's done.
It takes so much. You know, it takes a lot to even be considered in the conversation. With the men, you know, when you're a rapper, and I'm sure R&B too.
Absolutely.
Even though it's like a women's game, it's still kind of hard for women in general. So And I wanted to ask you about. I did like a guest appearance on Star.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I always loved that because it was a different experience because I was used to reality TV.
Yeah.
So when I did Star, it was quick, you know, a little scene. I don't even think I said nothing, but I just wanted to know how that was like.
Man,
that was different.
It was a different experience, but a great experience. You know, working with Lee Daniels and
I was nervous.
Yeah, who's like a really such an amazing creative person and just knows what he wants, sees it, can articulate it.
Yeah, he was sitting back there with
and then execute it. Like,
and can really execute. Like he knows what he wants, and so and that helps. You know, other creatives, because you can again feed off of that energy, so you feel like you're gonna make something and be a part of something special. But that was great. That was, you know, we did it for 3 seasons. That was and that was a fun ride. Absolutely.
Yes, I like this.
how in the fuck did you pick your 20 songs out of all the hits that you got on Versus, man?
Oh man, so that was Troy Taylor was involved.
Yeah, I was about to say somebody helped you. Like, man, I can hear Troy. Man, you gotta do this record. Like this.
So the way he did it was like, you know, he was like, tell me the records that you're thinking. And then he was like, you know, we'll do the A pile, you know, and then the B pile. He was like, and so you call out the songs and I'll tell you. And he was like, and then we'll put them in the sequence. So, you know, before I start calling out songs, he was like, so all of the Mariah stuff, all of the Mary stuff, that's in the A pile. So that's, you know what I mean? And then we we set like the first five or six. Those were set hard. The last 5 were set, you know, hard. And then he was like, you know, we're going to put these in the middle and then we'll play around. So it's kind of like spades.
Right.
You'll feed off of what Neo does.
Yeah.
And so it's that middle part. So it's the, you know, front 5 and back 5 we knew were absolutely locked.
Like spades.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy,
Yeah.
man.
And then you just play them like spades.
Yeah. You throw that out. Okay.
Right.
I got you for this one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I'm B-Nate.
What was the energy like that? Even the aftermath of verses. Talk to us about that.
So-
Everybody showing love, giving flowers.
Man, it was-
woke again.
Right.
Like, wow, I didn't know you was responsible for so
all
many
of
hits.
this.
That's what was crazy because I mean, it was the fourth verses and it's like at the height of quarantine, so you really have a captive audience. So
I was like, that's my dog.
yeah, I'm coming out of the verses. So we did it at Troy's house. I'm leaving Troy's house. Hove calls me.
Ooh,
And he's like,
Jay.
yo, you did. He was like,
crazy.
He was like, you
You-
did.
you
He was
did
like,
your
man,
thing,
if
son.
If they didn't know you before, they
know you now.
They know you now.
Young, old, and in between.
Right. So that was a great, great phone call to get. L.A. Reid. I mean, just the people reaching out to say congrats, but then I'm like seeing texts. My partner hit me. It's like, yo, I know you're in the middle of it right now, but you're like trending number 1 on Twitter. Like you're like it's
Crazy.
It's going.
up.
So yeah, that aftermath was pretty cool. And then to see just I don't want to say casual fans, but like fans who may not necessarily read the credits or do things like, but
Absolutely.
are fans of music.
Absolutely.
See, I read the credits.
Who are just
Which is the newer
Right,
generation.
the newer-
It's hard to find a track list these days.
and
Where
that's
do
what
you go get the credits from?
and that's what it is.
Because I go look every time.
and so to see, because going into it, I mean, at first I can't say enough just the love I have for Neo to want to do it because he didn't have to do it. Like he could have waited for someone who was more famous, had more recognition, and so for me to reach out and him to be open to it, that was a great moment. And then Swiss and Tim, giving us that platform. But to see the fans, because before it was just like, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but he's about to get killed, because it's Neo. Obviously, people giving Neo the respect that he deserves.
Right. But that goes to show how much respect, man, and the importance of respect. When people respect who you are,
Yep.
you will get that shot, and then they realize after,
I didn't
Johnta,
know.
but just the respect alone
Absolutely.
will get you a shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
it was right. And so for Neo to have that love and that respect to be
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then, Swiss
He already knew
reached
what he
out.
was working with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But he knew. He
Oh
knew.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
but again, that's a class A guy, man. I've
Yeah,
known Neo,
I know Neo
so
too.
many
He's cool.
times, stand up guy,
Always
He's as
have
classy
that
as they
respectful.
come.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's as classy as
He
they come.
is.
and wants to put spotlight on those deserving.
Yes.
So
yes.
you know what I mean. That's big ups to Neo.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He's a real dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
What else I had for you? One of my favorite songs. I just want to know, like, the energy when you did Be Without You. Because Mary J. Blige, people, like, my husband tell people to this day, like, if she see Mary J. Blige, I think she'll pass out. Like, and nobody would make me do that. But I love her. Like,
Oh man, no, Mary's amazing. That was one of those quick sessions, man. Like we came in, Brian Cox already had the beat up, and then I came in. That was like one of those 30-minute sessions. Like the
I'm about to say that sounds like an alley oop. He said the beat was already up. Now, have you heard the beat Without You?
The beat,
Yes.
The
was
beat,
already
come
up,
on, man. It talks to you. Them pianos.
Yeah, and
It's
so
like-
I
it's
was
like-
okay.
Explain
we got
that
it.
too, like the production behind Brian Michael Cox, Jermaine Dupri, Troy Taylor. A lot of these guys who they know exactly how to arrange a song
Right. Yes.
and put it in a format.
to set it up to where the writer can really, like you said, you gave the perfect analogy. It's an alley oop, like So when Brian turns on that beat, when you turn on that beat, Troy, anybody, y'all know when y'all, just like when songwriters know that we have the songs, y'all know when y'all got the beats. Like, if you like, okay, and great producers know what beats they want, to go to which writers, what I mean? So if I'm coming or if Sean Garrett is coming, you're like, okay, I know he's gonna like this. I'm gonna put this in the Sean Garrett pile or the Dream pile or the Johnta or Neo pile. It's like because great producers already know what writers want to do.
Fact.
So it is.
so
It's
you heard
an
that beat
alley-oop.
and you just
It went
wanna be
crazy.
with you? It just came out of your head.
Yeah.
I I'm just done.
Yeah.
I gotta take a shot.
Absolutely.
Songwriter of the decade.
Yeah,
not the year.
Not the year.
We talking about a whole decade.
Yeah, song of the
decade.
How?
A dime.
Yeah, that song
Consistency.
Of the decade
Talk to us about consistency.
Yeah, that song of the decade with Mariah, man, was like, because like when you say it, like it's like, man, they only give them out every 10 years. You know what I mean? And so, and you get to keep
get
it.
A little energy.
Right? it wasn't until like, because they named Uptown Funk Song of the Decade for the 2010. So, but it was like, so you get it, when it happens. And then like in 2019, when they name a new one, you're like, yo, like it's because that's how long it's going to take for y'all to name another song of the decade. Like y'all named it for us in 2010. And it's and we were the song of the decade until, the next decade ends. And so that, I mean, it's an amazing feeling, man, to see that song of the decade. Like,
it's like,
wow.
What?
So more hits came after that?
Yeah, I mean, because we did, Be Without You, and they recently named that Billboard like 2 years ago named it the greatest R&B song of all time.
Song right there, baby.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So work it gets even crazier. You have a run like after verses.
Yeah,
how was work that following week? That more songs made or not so much?
Nah, people wanted to, get in and make songs. I mean, it was still, quarantine, but people was like, man, I want to sing some tracks. I want to, and I mean, still working. Like we did, the Troy Taylor and I did a record for Trey called All This Love that was done during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So just I try to stay working, to stay working and writing.
Chris Brown, what you got next? Her? You got who
man, I would love to work with that. I actually have a couple of records on Summer Walker that London and I did. I'm excited about that. And that's
I love Summer Walker. Shout out to London on the track. That's
Memphis.
family.
Absolutely.
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 Okay.
So anything coming new? Anything else you want to?
So Usher, my EP with Troy Taylor, that's coming, and then Summer Walker, those are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the immediate.
That's and then the album, I had a couple tracks on the album.
Absolutely, we got Love, Sex, and Religion. Absolutely, Breaking Rules is that.
Breaking Rules.
Yeah,
Breaking
that's
Rules.
An incredible record.
Oh yeah.
I gotta hear this.
Incredible record. Yeah.
But I would love to work with you if you could think of me something.
Okay.
I want like one of them take you back to I'm in love or with a guy, like some guy where
like
I could
a shawty.
Yeah, where I could put an R&B singer on the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere I could just spill it out because, I'm married and people want to hear how I've been married so long. So,
yeah,
we got to give them the game.
Yeah,
that's it.
That will be hard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm praying on it.
Yeah, for sure. What food, diet, regimen, health? What you eating these days?
I'm water and I'm like fruit for breakfast and fish and veggies for lunch.
Oh yeah, brain food.
Yeah, I may cheat a little bit on dinner, but
right.
But yeah, I exercise every day. Cardio, weights
every day.
Yeah. Is there any particular food or chocolate or ice cream or anything that you gotta have when you're in the studio?
Ooh, in the studio.
For me, I'm always like grapes. I don't know what it is, but it's like, man, every time I got grapes in the studio, you know what I mean? It's weird, but they I don't know, just give me a vibe.
A vibe.
Yeah, I mean, not any particular food. I'll eat whatever the studio has. Although the cookies that they would make at Patchwork.
Oh yeah. Ooh. The classic cookies at Patchwork. Now that's a whole nother conversation.
I just want a book today just to get the cookies.
The cookies.
Absolutely. The cookies were amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Cookies were classic.
Mine is JJ's fish and chicken with the little powder stuff.
Oh yeah.
On top of the chicken.
Now JJ's fish and chicken, it reminds you a little bit of Memphis too.
Yeah.
Those everybody be like, man, I'm at JJ's with the fried chicken. Yeah. Don't forget the powder.
Yeah, the little powder.
Yeah. That's funny, because when we when Quavo was on Star, he had asked for JJ's, and I'm like, I'm from here, so before it was JJ's fish and chicken, it was JJ's Rib Shack.
Yeah,
so that's a whole different business.
Yeah.
I'm like, JJ's like, you want ribs? And he was like, nah, JJ's fish. He was like, down this, It's on, you know.
JJ's ribs was good too.
I
Still
never
is.
had
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's on Camilton Road.
Yeah.
I never had it.
Yeah.
I just had
Yeah.
that chicken with that powder magical.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
JJ's
Everybody
Rib
talking
Shack
about-
at the corner of Camilton and Childress.
Wow.
So I'm from Southwest Atlanta, so we get to school every day. I walk past.
Let me
JJ's.
ask you this, folks. I know we got to close, but
Yeah.
are you just proud of you're from Atlanta, right?
Absolutely.
So are you just proud of because I know coming from when you started to now, Atlanta is like the Mecca. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? Your city just flourishing.
No, it's great. I mean, and it's been that way, you know, because it was that way for R&B for a while, you know, because we had LaFace here.
Yep, it was.
So, you know, you had Usher, you had
Sierra.
TLC, Tony, Sierra, right? You know, so you had, you know, the R&B, but then when you have, you know, Outkast, you know, started to make a name for us in the rap scene, and then Goody Mob, but now just, you know, everything that, you know, 2 Chainz, QC,
Yes.
and their whole, you know, movement and what they're doing. It's just great to see all around music and just culture, like, you know, love and hip hop,
Yeah.
you know, Real Housewives, just all around culture
Of
of
yep.
Atlanta is huge.
Right.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the Atlanta secret to unification? And so many people helping each other and supporting each other. Is the corporate side of it? Is it because so many labels were major labels and not so many people, so much independent labels like a Memphis or Charlotte?
I think it's you know, it's that Southern hospitality. I think it is rooted in that, but I think when you see other artists or writers, you see yourself. You know what I mean? So when you hear, you know, stories about Lil Baby saying that, you know, Thugger came and, you know, told him to get out the hood and like, you know, and work on his rap career. I think that's an example of Thugger probably looking at Baby and like seeing himself. And so I want to help him because because someone probably saw themselves in Thugger, and then so on and so forth, you know. So I think it's that, like, you know, and everybody's easy going. Like, everybody wants to have a good time in Atlanta. Like, I think, you know, when you see people out, is like someone like a Jazzy Faye, like, you're always happy to see him.
Yeah.
He's always happy to see everybody. And I think he represents, you know, and he's from Memphis, of course, but, you know, just that mentality, that Southern mentality of, you know, when you see people, you know, you want to break bread with them or just party with them, have a good time, or just be pleasant to
yep.
people.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of energy that we have just in the community.
Oh yeah, man. Well, y'all heard it best. Y'all heard it right here with my dog Johnta Austin, man. Look, it's
Yes.
been a pleasure.
Legendary.
Thank you, guys.
Having you on the show. You know what I'm
Thank you
saying?
so
Your
much for
time
having
is so valuable.
It
and for you
is. We
to
really
give us this
appreciate you.
episode 4.
Yeah.
No, episode 5. I'm
This
sorry. To
episode
give
5.
us episode 5. Like,
baby.
man, come on, man.
We knocking them down.
Hawks
Hey,
and 5.
Hey. Let's get it. Shout out to Atlanta Hawks. Hey, thank you, Johnta Austin.
Thank you guys.
Thank
for
you
having me.
so much.
We gotta
Beauty
do
and
it
the
again.
Beast.
We do. And they got to give you another verses part 2.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And we need to get back in that lab, man. Stay
Absolutely.
tuned.
And I want to be there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Beauty and the Beats. It's your boy, Drumma Boy.
Jessica Dime.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, boy.